Okay, so welcome to catching production errors with our customers. My name is Samuel Lopez, and you can find me on Twitter via El Chico de Python. Before starting this talk, I wanted to say thanks to all of our sponsors for allowing me to be here and allowing this event to occur. Here we have a happy or not so happy developer that is developing a new feature. This feature is added to staging, then a lot of tests passed in staging, pipeline grid, all perfect. Then our QA says, okay, this seems good. So what's happened next? The feature gets deployed, customer tests the feature, and suddenly the feature is not working, but only sometimes. And now is the what the F time. So as developers, we don't know what's happening in our local environment works, but in production, there's something that is breaking our project. So I'm going to tell you a story that you probably never heard. This story is about mystical events that occurs in productions, these kind of mystical creatures that breaks your code in production, but not in your machine. Well, in my previous job, I had to integrate our product with a SOAP API of a customer, so I was this developer, not so happy to work with SOAP. I pushed this integration, all the pipeline was green, all the tests were perfect, and my QA says, okay, seems good, so you know what's going to happen next. We deploy the feature, customer tests the feature, and yeah, the feature was not working, but only sometimes. Sometimes yes, sometimes not, don't. I don't know why there was this kind of failure, so I was just like, I don't understand anything. So yeah, I connected to the VPN, I accessed to a machine, then I accessed to another, I looked at all the logs, and then I found an exception that really didn't seem to have anything to do with my code. So I debugged the app until I found a point where it was crashing, and yeah, I did not understand anything. I was just like, don't know, this bug occurred when passing a SOAP response, but the SOAP response seems to be perfect. So yeah, I needed to replicate this, so I copied this response, I pasted it in my local machine, I set up a test to test this response with my code, and yeah, it worked like a charm. It was working in local, but for some reason, in the remote environment, in production, this was failing. So yeah, so funny, the best day of my life. Yeah, that's watch me. And to make things even funnier, our customer was calling angry, and I was just like, yeah, your system is down. And obviously, we broke it to make fun and make your day even harder. So at this moment, and 2 days later, making blind shots, I decided to look for mystical creatures on the network, just to search for something more. And I captured the SOAP communication with a cool tool called TCP-dump. I analyzed the packets with the Wireshark, and I suddenly found a raw null byte in the SOAP body. Yeah, I don't know if you know how works the SOAP standard, but the SOAP standard does not accept null bytes. Null bytes not allowed. But for some reason, this customer decided, I don't know how, because any library wouldn't let you to do this, but this customer decided to send a null byte in the SOAP body. So, well, the way I solved this could give for another talk, but at this point I was quite mad, because I wasted 2.5 days trying to find the information, the context information that I was missing. That was something in production that was not in my machine. Even the work was the same. Even the code was the same. And when I copied the response to my machine, in that copy paste, the null byte was obviously disappeared. So, welcome to Sentry. Sentry is an application monitoring tool. What is an application monitoring tool? It's a tool that monitors applications. Yeah, so hard to believe. What it does, it helps us to solve problems detecting exceptions at the moment they occur. When an exception occurs, this Sentry captures all the context information of these exceptions and send this information to a backend and notifies us. So we can have like what is happening in production when the exceptions are being raised. And well, it do a lot more, but I'm not going to keep in every detail of Sentry. I need to say that works very well with Django and with a lot of technologies, but with Django seems like a perfect integration. In Sentry, you have to create a project in the interface. This is an open source project, but they also have like a SaaS application, so you can use it for free. They're SaaS with some limitations, or you can host it your own. You choose the platform what you're working with, and you start to set up this environment. So have support for a lot of languages and have support for a lot of different platforms. How do we set up this? This should be like very difficult because it does like a lot of things. So yeah, this is the example for Python. It's like, I don't know, 5 lines of code. It's quite easy to set up and to start working with Sentry and start capturing our errors in the time they occur and having all the context information surrounding them. This mystical creature that make that the code that works in your machine don't work in productions. So in Python, in every language is a little bit different, but the principle is the same. We just pip install Sentry SDK, and we just configure our SDK into our application. Here is the sample for Django, and I need to make this point clear. The integrations in the Sentry configurations is important because even Sentry captures by default a lot of errors of your code. The integrations give Sentry like superpowers because they give you a lot of more context. In the case of Django, it gives you the user that was making a request that was failing, the params of that request, and a lot of more information that is surrounding the application. If you work, for example, with Celery, you need to add the Celery integration. Okay, so let's make like a quick demo of about how Sentry could work. This is a Django view, very simple. I try to keep it simple for these purposes. That just raises an exception. So if I go to the endpoint that raises this exception, I get a server error. Okay, good. So what's happening in Sentry? This is the Sentry interface. Sentry interface is divided between projects. Each project is like an application, and here we have like the software crafters SCBCN applications with some exceptions already logged. Sentry creates issues and gives you group the exceptions in each issue. For example, if you have like 100 writes of one kind of exception, they are going to be all grouped inside one only issue, so you can track them better. And yeah, we are going to have like a quick demo of what I'm showing you right now. I'm going to put it from the beginning right here. This is our project of Software Crafter SCBCN. This is the issue that was being raised, and we can see here at the top, we can see the mechanism of the issue, the runtime, the user, the URL, the transaction, well, a lot of context information that helps us to replicate this, but it goes even further because it gives us the traceback, the exact line that is triggering the error, well, here the IP, and help us to, at the moment the errors occurs, start to fixing them even before our customer calls us, telling us what is happening. So here we have our incidents flow before and after using Sentry or any other application monitoring tool. We have a feature deploy, and before we had a reactive behavior. We were acting after customer calls or after we found that the application was really not working in production after some time. In our new proactive behavior after Sentry, what we have is that we deploy, suddenly an error occurs, but at that moment we get notified. and we can start working, fixing what's happening. So when we have like all the context information, we have also the capabilities to fix them in a shorter time of term. So Sentry, as I said, work with a lot of technologies, and yeah, I hope the incident flow after this talk is the following one. That's after a feature gets deployed, Sentry capture that exception, and this context information help us to fix it. It's like cheating on, kind of cheating, because we fix things even before they call us, and it seems like everything works good even if there were some errors, but yeah, it's okay. So time for questions and answers. And if you don't have any questions right now, you can also call me back through Twitter by El Chico de Python. I'll have like a message, I think that they are open.
Despite the information of the error, it gives you like some like kind of APM or something like, okay, I went through there, I did that.
Yeah, it gave you the traceback about all about the exception, and it gave you like sometimes this was in real environment applications. It gives you like, for example, like the user that was creating the exception, some variables that were the state of that variables, and helps you to fix the error, to detect the error, which is like a time that it's been solved by Sentry, and then to fix the error because it gives you like a lot of context information to do it.
Is the base service?
It has an open source. Sentry is open source, so you can download it and host it yourself. And it also has a software as a service, which has like multiple plans with different pricings, and it has like a essential pricing where you can have Sentry for free.
How do you handle sensitive data like user tokens and stuff like that for reviewers?
That's a good question.
Sometimes it's tricky, no?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think that Sentry shows you that data. I don't know if you can configure it some way, but maybe through an integration or creating your custom plugin for integration, you probably could handle this, hide this information. But the way the purpose of Celery is to give you all of the data and without distinction between what you should see and what you shouldn't. So, great. Thank you so much.